Hello all, welcome to Get Set Law. In today's video, we'll be talking about the past year paper analysis for NLSAT exam. So NLSAT exam is the entrance exam for NLS Bangalore, the most prestigious law college of the country. So those of you who are targeting NLS Bangalore for your 3-year LLB program, this is the exam that you have to appear for. This exam started in the year of 2022. So till now we have 2 papers only which we'll be analyzing. So in order to predict the paper and the probable topic for the 2024 exam, which is scheduled on 17th of March. So let's understand the paper pattern first. So the paper is divided into 2 parts, part A and part B. Part A consists of MCQ type questions. So these MCQs are not direct MCQs, but these are based on the passages. Total number of questions in part A is 75. So 75 MCQs will be there, which will be based on certain passages. One passage followed by certain questions. So approximately 7 to 8 passages will be there, followed by certain questions, which is MCQ based in nature, multiple choice questions based in nature. Now you will get 1 mark for every correct answer that you have marked, and you will get a deduction, that is a negative marking of 1/4 marks, that is minus 0.25 marks for every incorrect answer that you have opted for. Now coming to part B. Part B is more of a descriptive kind of paper where you have to write down your answer, where you have to make sure you're sticking to the word limit and writing your answer. So again, it is divided into different parts. So one type of question that you'll be getting is legal reasoning and logical reasoning question, for which you'll get 150 word limit, where you have to mark your where you have to write down your answers in 150 words, and approximately 12 questions you have to mark for 5 marks each. That makes it a 60 marks paper for legal and logical reasoning. For current affairs, you'll get 1 question for 500 words with 500 words limit, where you have to make sure you're writing your opinion based on the pressing current issue in 500 words, and you will get 15 marks for that. So again, it will be 75 marks for part B also. That makes it a total of 150 marks, and you will get a time period of 150 minutes also to solve the entire paper, right? So first of all, let's try to understand different paper breakup or different subject breakup when it comes to MCQ based questions. So there will be no section wise segregation. One passage that is followed by certain questions, say 10 questions. So in those 10 questions, you will get questions from legal reasoning also. You will get questions from GK also. You'll get questions from verbal reasoning as well as the logical reasoning part also. So you'll get a mixture of all the questions. Now let's understand what are the probable topic from different subjects. So from language comprehension, first of all, you can expect vocabulary based questions. You can expect questions like main idea or central idea of the passage. So you need to understand or read the passage very carefully to find out the main idea or the central idea of the passages. Flaw in arguments, that is strengthening or weakening of arguments. These kinds of questions were very common in past 2-year papers. Criticism, conclusion, author's argument, all these type of questions you can expect in your paper. Apart from it, you can expect certain questions from grammar also, specifically around subject verb agreement and tenses. Next is with respect to GK. So GK is again divided into 2 parts, static GK and current affairs. So when we look at static GK, you have to cover certain points, and for current affairs, last 1 year current affairs is very important. So for the exam that is going to happen on 17th of March 2024, you need to prepare static GK till the time of 10th March for a safety bracket, that from January 23, you are preparing current affairs till 10th of March 2024, because the exam is in online mode. So you can expect the most recent topics to come up in the exam as well. Now, certain topics that you need to focus upon are questions that were asked from static GK as well as with respect to the current affairs that you need to focus upon. Now, make sure before I dwell into the topics, make sure to understand this. These topics will be linked to the passage that is being given. So suppose if the passage is about Russia-Ukraine war, so the topics from which you can get the questions, that is static GK or the current affairs, will link to the or will be related to Russia-Ukraine war only, like questions like maybe who is the current president of Russia, who is the current president of Ukraine, what countries are the member of NATO. So all these questions you can expect which are linked to the passage that is being given. So the questions you can expect will be linked according to the passage. Certain topics that were included in past year papers were with respect to Indian geography, rivers, etc., organizations at international level, their headquarters, national authorities, awards and recognition, books and authors, national and international important things like capital, currency, president of the countries that are in news for the past 1 year. Make sure you know the capital and president and the currency of those countries that were in news for past 1 year. That is most important part. Sports also, the sports at national and international level are important for this section. Various summits and conferences that happened, or certain sites that were included, or certain locations that were made part of UNESCO heritage site, that is also relevant for current affairs session. Apart from it, we have also seen that India participated, or India launched various space mission in last 1 year. So make sure you're reading about those space missions as well. Apart from it, various new appointments. So you must know the names of new appointments at national level, various constitutional bodies. So you must know the name of those appointments. Apart from it, famous first personalities or events are also relevant from exam viewpoint. Apart from it, national and international days that are important. Budget. So we have seen question from 2023 budget. We are expecting certain questions from 2024 budget as well. So let's hope that there are questions, and make sure you know something about the various schemes that were introduced by the government. So make sure you are reading upon those, so that when you face those questions in the exam, you are able to recall those things. Apart from it, various governmental schemes, national level schemes, projects along with their full form. So make sure even when there is the initials of the projects are being used, so you know the full form of those projects. So make sure you remember the full form, because questions will be asked from that part also. Various international pacts and treaties that were entered by the government, and death of certain prominent figures that were in news. So you need to know all these things with respect to static GK and current affairs. Make sure you start revising one topic each day. If you are targeting NLSAT, so revise 1 or 2 topics each day on the topic list that I have just mentioned. It is very important from exam viewpoint. Now for legal reasoning section, as we have seen that mostly the current affairs are there, or current legal events are part of legal reasoning section. So you can expect questions from judgments, some of the landmark judgments that were delivered over the span of last 1 year. So you can expect questions from them. You can expect questions from various bills. So we have seen a lot of laws being passed, a lot of bills in news for last 1 year, changing or reforming Indian history. So make sure you are reading upon those bills. You are getting a fair idea of those bills, not the in-depth reading, but a fair idea of those bills, what those bills talk about. Apart from it, certain important legal topics that were in discussion for past 1 year, like UCC, sedition, anti-defection, elections, all these were in discussion for last 1 year. So make sure these topics you are covering along with other topics that were there in discussion for last 1 year. Now, with respect to the static part in legal, so these are certain current legal events that you need to know from exam viewpoint, but certain static part also. So constitution is one of the most important topics that you need to know. So read up on fundamental rights, fundamental duties about parliament, legislature and judiciary. Apart from it, prepare a little bit about criminal laws and civil laws, that is corporate laws. Read a little bit about family law as well, specifically with respect to marriage related matters and divorce. So these are certain important topics that you need to be aware of, that you need to know when you can expect questions, certain fact based questions on these topics. So make sure you're reading up on these. Now, with respect to logical reasoning, specifically, I've mentioned that the emphasis is on critical reasoning. You will not get questions from analytical reasoning like coding, decoding, blood relation, direction sense. These questions are not asked in NLSAT exam. Statement type questions, mostly critical reasoning questions are asked. This include topics like assertion reasoning, statement conclusion, inference, assumptions, conclusions, flaw in argument. All these type of questions you can expect. These were there available in the last 1 year. So you can expect questions from these topics only in your current exam. So that is it about the MCQ section, the questions that were there, the topics that you could have expected, the topics that were repeated in the last 2 years. So accordingly, you will get a fair idea on what kind of questions will be asked when it comes to NLSAT Part A paper. Now let's talk about Part B paper. So as we have seen the sample paper and previous 2-year paper, mostly the questions from legal and logical reasoning part were based on facts. So you will be given a factual circumstance where you have to justify, you have to take one stand, whether you are for arguing for the matter or against the matter, and then you have to justify your stand in those 150 words. Make sure not to cross the word limit, make sure to stick to the word limits, and highlighting the important pointers that you think is justifying your stand. So if one word or one sentence is justifying your stand, make sure you are highlighting those things in the paper if you are getting a chance, if there is the option available to highlight that part. So make sure you're highlighting or putting it in colons at least, so that you are able to put emphasis on certain topics that are relevant for your answer. Moving ahead to current affairs session. So in current affairs, you will get certain important topics. So certain topics that are controversial, that are in news, from which an opinion can be extracted from you. You can have a certain opinion. Let me give you an example, like maybe what are your viewpoints on UCC being violative of fundamental right to freedom of religion. So if you think that UCC is in a way violating freedom of religion, so you can argue on that basis. If you think no, it is not violating, rather it is giving a broad plethora of rights to everyone, so you can argue from that viewpoint. So it is relevant that you frame your answers and you justify it on the basis of pointers. 500 words are too much as compared to 150 words. So make sure you are justifying your answer in pointers. So make sure you're writing certain points and highlighting the relevant points that are with respect to, that are going in sync with your answer, that will help you in justifying your answer. So make sure you always end your answer in current affairs question session, where you are expressing your opinion with a conclusion. Give your reasons towards your stand and write a conclusion. So start practicing. Now for the next 20-25 days, the time that you have, make sure you start practicing one answer every day. Writing practice in the span of time, 60 minutes, 12 questions, and then rest 15 minutes you're devoting to current affairs. So you have to frame the answer and then you have to write the answer also in that 75 minutes time. So make sure you start devoting time for this part also. It is equally relevant from your exam viewpoint. So if the video was useful for you and if you found the information helpful for your NLSAT preparation, make sure you like the video and drop in a comment about how you liked the video, and subscribe to our channel for more such information. Thank you so much.